So to kick off this conversation of making more money with less time, I decided to actually bring in the individual. I'm like the parasite leeching on this man's life who technically is actually working when I'm not. So this is Carson. He actually runs one of my companies.
Yep. Hey
actually
there.
Several of them, and runs them freaking brilliantly.
Yep.
And in actuality, there's a lot of benefit you get out of that too, right?
I was going to say that I have learned the way that you delegate and have passed that on to the team. So yeah, working when I'm not working.
So guys, today we're going to be talking about 4 specific secrets. There's 4 things that you can do where you can make more money but actually work less. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
It's almost as cool as these socks. I'm rocking my lumberjack.
I didn't know if you would actually show these on camera, but you're doing it.
Why not?
Yeah.
This is, what do you call this? Lumbersexual?
Lumbersexual is what they're calling it.
Lumbersexual. I like the sound of it, so.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
All right, so there are 4 of these awesome secrets, and listen, you guys don't really see Carson a lot, but behind the scenes, he's like the ninja that gets stuff done. And the reason why I wanted you here was because all 4 of the things I'm going to be talking about today, you're actually rocking in your own way.
Yep.
And the first one is becoming a business owner versus an operator. Like when you first came on 6 years ago, I was that 80, 100, 120 hour a week guy that like I was nonstop. And you guys always made fun of me like, oh, Kris never sleeps. He'd send emails at 3 a.m. Like my brain just didn't know how to turn off. And I went to a Tony Robbins seminar where I felt like I got spanked. And he's like, dude, if you have achievement without fulfillment, you're not happy. There's no success. And I remember calling you up and basically saying, okay, Carson, on Monday, when I get back into the office, I am firing myself.
Yep.
Write your acceptance speech because you're taking over everything and just do it way better than me.
What's funny though is I had a very similar journey about the same time. Do you remember when you first pitched me the idea of hiring some people in the Philippines to help out with our video work?
I don't remember.
You don't remember this, but it was really hard for me to like relinquish control because at the time I was editing, shooting all of our marketing content.
Yeah.
At the time.
Carson kind of started out and kind of came on as like the video hire all those years ago, and now he like runs everything.
It's like Monsters Inc. Started in the mailroom, worked their way up.
But by the way, I want to say something on this. Like, there's nothing more than I love than an underdog story, because that's exactly how my journey started out. Underdog for me was this whole idea that no one believed in me. I was being super aggressive. I wanted to do something that I didn't even know if I could do. And in the end, when I made it, it was just like, hey, I may not have the degrees, I may not have the things that you think I should have, but I have results. And with that came respect, and things shifted. And I found that with you. And if you're watching this, I want you to know that wherever you're at, don't limit yourself by your current career path or what other people tell you that you can do. Really, we live in a world today with technology, with so much opportunity. You can be and do anything you want. And understand that when we talk about the difference between a business owner and an operator, I've heard it said that business operators get tired and business owners get rich. And since I've handed things off to you, financially, I'm actually significantly better off, but I'm actually working less. So the whole idea of delegation, and you should always be training your protege. You should always be training someone that you believe can do the business better than you. And if you don't have that in your life right now, then you're confused.
Yeah, I was gonna say to any entrepreneurs out there or entrepreneurs or anybody who wants to be the owner of something, you gotta get out of the mindset of doing it alone. Like you give me tons of credit for the success we've had over the past few years, and we've seen a lot of success, but it's not me. It's not you, it's all of us together. It's this idea of a team effort because like you said, there are times that if you take a day off, the team continues working. Yeah. And so when you have a team, it's synergy. You're able to do so much more.
So you need to decide up front that what you're gonna do is that you're gonna be a business owner instead of an operator, because operators get tired and owners get rich. I wanted to kind of diagram this next one. The second thing that you should do from what we're talking about here in this video is you totally need to focus on purchasing assets that pay you money, right? So you can reduce your expenses. Obviously, real estate is a really awesome way to do this. Carson, actually, you're accessing all of these different things.
Yeah.
After you were here for a short while, you got into actually your first deal, right?
Yeah, so we're following your same path. We found a home that we could live in the top, rent out the basement, and the rent from the basement pretty much covers your mortgage. And my wife and I were doing some math recently because there's personal finance books that they recommend. Your mortgage should be no more than 25% of your expenses each month.
Right.
And guess my wife did the math, and we were about like 5%.
What's up?
And I'm telling you,
that means you can save money like crazy.
That's what I was gonna say. Is
Yeah.
we save money like crazy, and we're actually shopping right now, looking for our next house because we want to do it again. We're not gonna sell this asset when we move. We want it to work for us, and it's gonna cash flow something nice, Kris, once we move out. And then we'll do it again. We'll buy another house with a basement apartment, and we'll have 3 rentals.
So here's the message, right? Buy assets that pay you.
Yep.
Most people don't do this. They're busy putting money in a 401k or IRA or the stock market. None of these things pay you. By the way, if you want to touch them or access the money out of them, then you get spanked, you get penalized, you get taxed. And so I'm like, dude, isn't this just stupid? Like, if you save money, then shouldn't you buy things that pay you so that you work less and make more? I mean, dude, that's the title of the video is, and by the way, almost every day I'm buying another property. And every property I buy, it adds to my net worth, it increases my value, and in many cases increases my cash flow, where it gives me more freedom. So evaluate what you're doing with your excess money, and you should be purchasing cash flowing assets. If you're buying an asset and it's not cash flowing, I call that gambling, or some people would actually call that, what do you call it when you buy something and only can make money if it goes up over time?
Yeah.
There's a word for that thing, but bottom line is if it's not paying you, it's just not worth it.
But even still with rentals though, I wouldn't discount the principal pay down.
No,
Because some people like I think of my rental property as a piggy bank.
Yeah.
Like every month we put money in, right? And when the day comes that we sell it,
All of it comes back to
all
you.
of it comes back to
All of
you.
that
Like
comes
none
back
of
to you.
it's gone. And so to have a tenant who is putting money into our piggy bank every month and then all that comes back to me, like,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer.
By the way, at the end of this video, if you want to learn more about what we're talking about and just item number 2 here, there's this video that I created that millions of people ended up watching, and it's helped create financial freedom for a lot of people. So that video is going to appear up here in the corner. Watch that. It'll actually take you through my journey of how I became financially free, retired technically at the age of 26. Then I got bored out of my mind and I started working again, started working too hard again. And then I was like, oh, retirement, financial freedom are not the same thing.
Well, and you
Right.
not being officially retired has blessed a lot of people, me among them, so I'm grateful.
All right, kumbaya. Number 3, mindset. Okay, now this is going to seem a little bit weird. Make more, work less, mindset. Carson, I remember shortly after you came on board, you're like, listen, I'm just the camera guy, but I'm actually going to try some of Kris's mindset voodoo that I've been recording in all of these events of his that I've been recording. And I remember when you set the goal to double your income and actually got curious whether you could do it yourself.
Yeah. So I watched a video of yours. It was actually an audio training at the time that I was editing, and you talked about your experience where you just said, I'm going to double my income and see what happens. And I sort of set that goal and just committed to do a really good job at work and put in the time and effort and focus. And more importantly, put in the belief that it was possible.
Yeah.
And it was a year later, we did our taxes. And on paper, I can show you, I literally doubled my income.
Dude, that's
that
awesome.
year. And it wasn't from any one place. It wasn't
Right.
like some magic thing that happened. I got some bonuses and some raises at work that was really well. And at the time I was doing freelance video work. And it sort of gives you it's this realization that you're like, I have a lot of control
Yeah.
over what I bring in, depending on how I leverage these different things.
And here's something that I want you to be aware of. When you, in your mind, create absolute certainty around an idea, that's when this spiritual creation can start turning in from an ethereal place into a material place. And you can actually see it starting to show it physically. Like right now, we're sitting in a multi-million-dollar studio event center that I had built, and it all started from an idea, curiosity. I said, man, I'm sick and tired of, I put on these life-changing events, I'm sick and tired of renting out the Marriott and hotels and all that. I'm like, I just wish I had my own place. And then I thought about that more, and I thought about it, and I remember that nothing's going to happen with a positive thought until you pour faith in it. And there's only one way to know whether you have faith, and that's if you're putting an absolute certainty in the thing. So the moment I declared and said, this has happened, this is done, I'm going to have my own event center, and I actually woke up to that mindset, then it started materializing.
Yep.
And so, if you want to double your income just by shifting your mindset, I always find that doubling your income is actually it's a great way for most people to start. It doesn't matter how much money you make right now. Just imagine if you could hold space to actually believe and develop certainty around an idea that you're doubling your income this year.
Well, and let me ask you something, Kris. When you sat down and said, I'm going to double my income, did you just sit at home and say, it's coming, I'm gonna double my income?
No. This isn't The Secret movie where you just sit and have the
I don't,
vibes, right?
even The Secret movie, I don't think that was the message they were trying to portray.
Yeah.
I think some people interpreted it as this is magic,
Right.
but it's not, because when you believe it, when you believe and you're like, oh, if I go out today,
Right.
I'm gonna close that deal, or if I go out today, I'm gonna find my next client.
Yeah.
It changes your whole approach, your whole confidence, and that alone opens doors that
Yeah.
wouldn't be open if you didn't believe it was possible. Most people let doors close and assume they're not even there before they've even given them a chance.
Well, and speaking of that, this is actually what brings us to number 4. The fourth thing that I want to share with you here is that if you actually, the best tip I think I could give you, frankly, on working less and making more is it comes down to your standards. There are standards that govern our life. And the bottom line is we get what we tolerate. Mm-hmm. And when you really start wrapping your mind around that, for just a moment, think about the last crappy thing that happened to you that has happened before. Just for a moment, think about the last crappy thing that's happened to you that's actually happened before. Why does that crappy thing pop up from time to time? Why does that happen? It's even though you don't like it, even though you don't want it, you tolerate it. So guess what? It gets to show up and it actually gets to be a part of your life. I've been messing with this because I have had standards on my personal morals and ethics in business. I've had them on what kind of husband and father that I want to be. But I didn't know that I could actually apply standards to business. And once I started doing that, everything started changing. And the best way I know how to measure my standards in business when it comes to make more money and work less is I actually do a real simple calculation. For whatever activity I'm doing, how much am I getting paid? And I started playing this game. Now, by the way, my first year that I worked, I made like less than $20,000 in my first full-time working year, which was more money than I'd ever made, but was actually also disappointing because it wasn't enough to pay all my bills. And I tolerated that until I said, I'm going to double my income. I'm going to raise my standard. And then my income doubled, and then I doubled, and then I doubled. Now I make a lot of money, and it all comes down to the science of standards. And so I remember when I would do this, one of my mentors, Ed Hoyt, right? I paid $1 million to Ed over those 7 years to teach me and mentor me. And one of the things that he would do is he would laugh at me and make fun of me because I insisted before a convention on making my own PowerPoint slides. Yeah. And he'd always say, Kris, you can hire somebody to do that. And I was so anally like, I want all the pixels to line up as, like I was just being so in my way.
Going artist mode.
I was in mega artist mode.
Instead of businessman.
And so I was doing this thing, and I was actually just talking to Ed. He lives out of state, but I was talking to him yesterday. I was just thinking, I said, thank you for all the times that you harassed me, because I finally, years later, listened. And now I know what every activity's worth. And I've got a standard. Like for me, for some activities, I've got to get paid $2,000 an hour, or else I'm not doing it. I have other activities where I got to get paid $10,000 an hour, or I'm not doing it. So here's what it does. When you talk about doors opening and closing, and our mind, our perception, takes in billions of bits of information every second. But the countless doors that are available, the ones that we see, are based on the ones that we tolerate. Yep. So if I have low expectations, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I just want to make 50 grand a year as a business owner. Then guess what opportunities will filter and come my way? The ones that will make 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a year. But my standards can't tolerate that. Like if I do business and can't make 50 grand in a week, I get sick inside. So now all of a sudden when I get hit up, like yesterday, someone reached out to me like, hey Kris, I wanted to introduce you to this thing. And I started looking into it for like 30 seconds. I'm like,
no, standard wouldn't.
This doesn't meet my standards. So thank you for the offer.
I was going to say, this is the same principle as the reason that we don't do or don't prescribe fix and flips in our model of doing real estate, because usually someone will do a flip and they're like, oh, I walked away with 20K in cash. That's awesome. But if you ask them to do the math on the hours put into making that happen, it gets painful and you start to shift your standards.
But do you know what's really funny about that? Like literally today, I took a 5-minute drive to go look at a flip that I'm doing with my brother.
Yeah.
And I've put 1 hour into it. I just got it funded. I'll put probably 30 more minutes into it, and I'll make about $50,000 or $60,000. But there's only one reason why I said yes to that, because $60,000 divided by 2 hours is $30,000. That matches my standard. So you need to know what your standards are, not just in money, but in time. What is worth your time and what is not? How many of us are you complaining about? It's like, oh, I hate it when I have to do this thing. Can you delegate that? Oh, this thing happening. And it's like, dude, you keep getting and then whining and complaining and reinforcing and putting attention on the one thing you don't want in your life. You need to shift your standard. If you're complaining about it, it is beneath your standard. So you know what? Do this. Make a list of the 5 top things you complain about, and then create a new standard that says, I no longer tolerate these things. And guess what? Your perception will change, your opportunities will change. Now you can make more money and be more effective.
And my guess, there's another factor in that, in this idea of delegating, and that is that most people start to feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm delegating the things I don't want to do. That means I'm not a good business. And I just say, rethink that, because what is your highest and best use as the business owner? It's to make smart decisions, not necessarily be in the weeds.
I just had this conversation 2 days ago with a very respectable businessman who has a lot of pain in his life right now because of the amount of workload that he has, and he's trying to train people to do some of his stuff, and it's just painful. He's like, I give up. I'm just going to do it myself.
Just do it myself.
And you know what? You need to understand that the difference between a business owner and an operator is that an operator used to work for somebody else, went out on their own, and now they're working likely harder than they were before, because a business owner has more responsibilities. And you have to create this idea that says, I'm going to become a business owner, which means I'm going to hand everything off, and I'm going to make the money. I'm going to take the risks. And if I hire a really great team, like for example, right now, this is a little tip, gold nugget for you, is if you're a business owner, if you're not satisfied with your results, I want you to ask, how are you paying your people? And are you buying good talent or are you buying cheap talent? Because cheap talent means that you're paying for their learning curve. And buying good talent means that they come in as the expert, knowing how to serve, create, and build.
And good talent solves problems before it even gets to you.
So true, so true. So my friends, today, these were 4 secret tips. Dude, Carson, thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate you. Dude, this man is living it in his life. So running the companies, this guy's now working really hard, but he has his team he's delegating to. He gets financially rewarded for that. He's purchasing assets that are producing cash flow for him. You've built the mindset where you've been able to grow your income. Dude, you're living and breathing this, so thank you for being on to kind of just share your perspective on that. It's awesome, super valid. For the rest of you that are like, okay, Kris, I do want to make more money with less time. What do I do? I created a video just for you. In fact, it's popping up right over here. I want you to click and watch this video. It actually shares the 4 things that I did that led to my financial freedom by the age of 26. Last thing I want you to do is I want you to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. We get our word out fastest. You help us when you just hit like. And I'm assuming you're a subscriber, because if you like this video and you made it this far in the video, we pump these out every single day to give you value and help you wealthily grow your financial life. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Click that video, check it out. You're gonna see some other options in the description below. Check those out as well. Look forward to connecting with you and seeing you tomorrow.